Miami Hurricanes, fans everywhere. It's a glorious, beautiful day. It's got to be. The Hurricanes are in the playoffs. I definitely wouldn't tell my wife this, but the first thing I thought of this morning on Tuesday, just a few days away from knowing and learning about us getting into the playoffs, the first thing that came to mind today was the Hurricanes are in the playoffs. That was my first thought. I've got a beautiful wife, beautiful kids. I own several businesses with 100 and something employees. And the first thing that came to mind was the Hurricanes are in the playoffs. Don't judge me. Don't judge me. Please don't judge me. But anyway, I know that's kind of crazy. That's why I would never tell my wife that. Anyways, so I figured I would make a quick video just to share like my excitement, thoughts, and whatnot. But then I said, no, I'm gonna do like a long ranging video with a bunch of different topics in it. So the first thing that I want to cover, well, first I'm gonna tell y'all, my excitement level is kind of getting on a level of nonsensical at this point, almost getting to a point of insanity. I have worn this hoodie since Sunday. Not, I mean, I've taken it off, but I've put it on every day since Sunday. I don't know when I'm gonna stop this streak. I don't think this is a lucky hoodie or anything like that, but my fandom runs heavy right now, baby. So I don't know when I'm gonna stop wearing this hoodie. I've worn it every day. I've worn it to the office, and what they gonna say to me? I own the company, so whatever. Well, my wife doesn't care. So anyway, I'm not trying to impress any women out there. I'm married, so there it is. But anyway, today's video, I want to cover a bunch of different topics. The first thing I want to do is I want to give a few shout outs to some folks that I think were instrumental to us making the college football playoffs. So I want to give them some credit. I also want to give credit to the people who were out there saying stuff and going along with stuff that they knew they had no business going along with. Again, giving people the credit that they deserve. My man Charlemagne says that whether it's good credit or bad credit, we got to give them the credit they deserve. So we're going to talk about those folks as well. The next thing I want to do is I want to go over my thoughts and reactions all the way from when we lost to SMU up until the moment that we found out, or that I found out we were in the college football playoffs. I almost thought about recording myself as they were announcing it, but I said, man, if they announce Bama getting in and Notre Dame getting in with Miami being out, I don't know if I'd ever be able to live that down. And I just didn't even care to have the potential of that video getting out into the public. Like I said, no, I'm not even gonna do that to myself, to my future self. Not gonna do it. So I'll just tell you what I did because it was pretty funny. I'll tell you what I did whenever I found out. All right. Then after that, we're going to have a simple conversation with Notre Dame fans and just the Notre Dame team in general, because there's a lot of weird stuff going on with them at this point. So that's the order that we'll go in. So let's go ahead and get started with our shout outs. First shout out that I want to give is Danny Cannell. He's actually a former Florida State quarterback. I did not, y'all know, I don't know if I use the word hate, but I strongly dislike Florida State. I don't like any of their coaches, any of their quarterbacks, any of their running backs. Warwick Dunn played for my Tampa Bay Buccaneers for several years. I still don't even like Warwick Dunn. He was building houses for poor people and all kind of stuff. I don't even like that dude. So if I don't like Warwick Dunn, I definitely don't like Jordan Travis. But anyway, Danny Cannell was getting busy. Like, I don't know if I'd use the phrase taking up for the Hurricanes, but he was just speaking truth. He just continuously said, hey, man, this is a contact sport. When two teams play on the field, you got to respect that. When there's a head-to-head matchup, you have to honor that. He consistently said that, almost to the point where he was mocking Notre Dame and all their fans. Like, how are y'all actually like running along with this? Like, how are y'all cool with the fact that they have y'all in front of a team that y'all beat head to head? So Danny Cannell didn't like him before. I'm just gonna be honest with you because he was a Florida State quarterback. But I'm a fan of the guy now. I gotta be. Only because he stood on business and he took all of his bias out He took it all out. He just looked at things as they were. No emotions, just looked at facts. And that's why I respect him so much for that. Coach Nick Saban was also getting busy for the Hurricanes. Mainly, if you want to just put them all, like, if you want to figure out like what the common thread is with all these people I'm giving these shout outs to, most of them actually played the sport. If they didn't play this sport, then they've played a sport, whether it be basketball or baseball, whatever it may be. And they understand the pureness of competition. If you beat somebody heads up, typically you say, okay, you got it. So almost all of these folks are either athletes or coaches, but Nick Saban, y'all know he's one of the most prominent, most important voices in college football. So when he comes out there and he says consistently, multiple times, that the Hurricanes should be firmly in front of Notre Dame, that holds weight. Everybody knows that. Nick Saban's voice holds weight. So I appreciate the fact that he didn't want to be one of those guys like, well, I don't want to weigh in on this. I'm gonna let y'all make that decision. He's like, nah, Miami should be in front. They won the head-to-head. That's what sports are all about, head-to-head competition. I appreciate him for that. Mac Lane from Clemson, former Clemson player. Now he does some ACC coverage. I've been a fan of his for a long time, actually, since he's been on TV. I like him quite a bit. I saw him on TV actually get pretty irritated with Murray. He used to be a quarterback for Georgia back in the day. They had a podcast together. They're talking back and forth. And Aaron Murray started talking about how maybe Notre Dame gets in there. And Mac Lane was like, hey, man, let's not even get into that subject because I'm going to get pissed off. Like, he was not even joking. He was like, I don't even want to go into that conversation. And he got so irritated, they changed the conversation. They just said, okay, let's talk about something else. So I respect him for that, just for respecting the pure competition. Fact. Hurricanes beat Notre Dame. They beat them on the field. Got to put him in front. Next person, Kirk Herbstreit. He was also voicing his opinion on it. SVP from ESPN. He voiced his opinion multiple times on several different podcasts. He even said, I'm throwing up to you at this point. He even said that. He was behind us 100%. Greg McElroy, former Alabama quarterback. He was firmly for the Hurricanes. EJ Manuel, who was a quarterback for Florida State. Florida State people are trying to win me over, y'all. It's tough. I got to respect EJ Manuel now because he was the one person that I saw on a couple of different sets who was like, nah, man, this Notre Dame in front of Miami stuff is crazy. Got to give EJ Manuel a whole lot of respect for that. Next guy, I'm going to give a ton of respect. More respect than all of these people, maybe even put together. And y'all going to say, what? The guy I'm talking about is Mike Ryan from the Dan Le Batard show. I think that's his name, is Mike Ryan. Mike Ryan's been a Hurricanes fan for forever. But he was like at the forefront of this whole thing saying, nah, we can't let this ride. Like, we got to do something. Like, they cannot finish in front of us. He was the first person that actually gave me a little bit of hope when he was like, I'm telling y'all, some of y'all probably saw this video. He was like, I'm telling you, I think they're doing some like WWE type stuff where they're building this thing up and they're just trying to wait to the last moment to flip Miami and Notre Dame. When he said that, I'm like, that sounds hella stupid. But then I said, you know, these people are doing TV. Maybe they are waiting for something like that. And I'll be damned, they really did it. So I got to give Mike Ryan a whole lot of credit because he was at the forefront, if you ask me, when it comes to like leading this whole Miami charge against the Notre Dame nonsensical folks out there. And then the last person we'll give credit to for the positive things, and then we'll go into the person I want to not talk bad about, but the person we're going to give credit for some nonsense they were doing. The last person I want to give credit to is Mario Cristobal. Why? Because he went around to all these different podcasts, all these different TV shows, and he was just telling people, not some kind of propaganda type weird stuff. Didn't have to reel off a bunch of stats. He was just giving like nothing but facts is what he was giving. And that's why I appreciated what he was doing. It seemed like anyone who asked him, do you want to come on my channel? He was like, yep, I'll be there. Because he was all over the place. And he continuously told people, I'm not just giving y'all some propaganda. I'm giving you actual facts. Gotta respect it. Gotta love it. So who do we want to talk about when it comes to this nonsense they were throwing out there? Y'all know who he is. Joey Galloway. Joey Galloway. I almost said Joey Galloway is trash, but I don't like doing the name calling. But Joey Galloway's take on all this stuff is trash to me. It's below trash. Oh, another person, Anthony McFarland. Y'all call him Booger McFarland, but I don't call adults Booger, so I'll call him by his real name. Booger McFarland. His mama called him Booger. His mama called him Anthony. I'm gonna call him Anthony. So Anthony McFarland, got to give him respect because he was the main person going against Joey Galloway. Said, "Nah, man, you can't put these fools in front of Miami. Like that doesn't make sense." So Anthony McFarland, okay. Negative person that I just cannot stand is Joey Galloway. I don't think I will ever be a fan of his again. As much as I like Kirk Herbstreit, Kirk Herbstreit just started a new podcast on YouTube. I refuse to watch that podcast because Joey Galloway is on it. That's where my mind is with Joey Galloway going forward. I just felt like he was too dismissive. He kept trying to be like he was trying to play like a heel. Like, you know how people in wrestling, I don't watch wrestling anymore. I stopped watching wrestling back in like the Jake the Snake days, way back in the early 90s. But anyway, you know how people who are wrestling, like they just overdo the evil side. They just like overdoing it. You're like, come on, like that seems like a crazy act that you're trying to put up. That's what I got from Joey Galloway. Like he was trying to do an act, and I didn't appreciate that. Um, Whenever, like if you're supposed to be an unbiased analyst and you're on TV and you're saying like, like I think there's a way of saying it basically. I think if you believe the Hurricanes don't belong, then you can simply say, they played a really, they play a cool schedule. They're 10-2. I think maybe they just lost at the wrong time. Like that's one way to say it. But Joey Galloway was doing a little too much. He just kept like, the phrase that comes to mind is flippant. Look that word up. It was just like flippant remarks. Like, no, they're not gonna get in. It's too late. They're not good enough. They're done. Nope, they're not gonna make it. Every time someone, whether it was Kirk Herbstreit, Reese Davis, whoever it was, anytime they brought the Hurricanes up, he had like venom that he was just spitting at us every time. Nope, they're not gonna make it. Just like dismissive. Too little, too late. Not gonna make it. And I was like, I do not like this dude. So the flippant remarks, the curt remarks, I'm cool on him forever. Like anything he ever puts out, I'm gonna be like, nah, I'm cool on Joey Galloway. And I know a lot of folks gonna say, it's a little harsh. People in my family will tell you, when I'm done with you, I am done with you. Joey Galloway, this is one viewer that you will miss, my friend. Those other 999,000 viewers, I appreciate them because you're not getting this view. All right. All right. So, shame on Joey Galloway though. And then also the other person that I want to say shame on is any person who's an analyst or a former football player or a former athlete in general. If you are going along with this nonsense about Notre Dame supposedly need to finish in front of the Hurricanes because they looked like the better team, shame on y'all. Like I really mean that. Shame on y'all. It almost reminded me of like during the election, there was a lot of people saying, do you want to be on the right side of history or do you want to be on the wrong side of history? And it felt like these people ended up just deciding that they want to be on the wrong side of history. These two teams played on the same field. One team, Miami, won. Honestly, the game ended up being a 3-point win, but it should have been like a 17-point victory. Miami dominated Notre Dame for most of the game. Notre Dame could not block Miami. It was evident throughout the whole game and towards the end of it, especially that last drive. So for anybody who watched these games, if you are a former coach, former player, or an analyst, and if you watch that game and you still say, hey man, we're going to go ahead and say Notre Dame should finish in front of Miami because they look like the better team. That is nonsense and shame on y'all for that. Trash take, trash analysis, horrible. All the folks out there who believe that, all of them. What's that show, Blake and something? I don't know what it's called. One of my favorite shows on YouTube. I can't think of the name of it, but I like that show a whole lot. One of the guys on there is a Notre Dame fan, And he was 100% saying, I'm taking my fandom out of this, but I'm telling you, Notre Dame should finish in front of Miami because Notre Dame looks like the better team. And his co-host was like, they played 4 common opponents. Miami beat them by 3. They beat 3 of the 4 common opponents by more than Notre Dame. What do you have to say about that? And the guy's just like, Notre Dame looks like a better team. Okay, Miami played y'all on the field and beat y'all head to head. What do you have to say about that? His response, Notre Dame looks like the better team. And then it just kept going, like he just kept on saying it. Notre Dame looked like the better team. I'm like, this dude is crazy. And the craziest part about all that to me is it wasn't just him and Notre Dame fans. It was all kinds of people who were jumping on that bandwagon. The college football committee kept saying, we just feel like Notre Dame's a better team. And then it was a bunch of other people on TV going along with that. Like, what? So, anyways, shame on all of those people. If you were one of those people, shame on you. Thank you very much. Next, talk about my reaction to this whole thing, y'all. Let's go all the way back to when we lost to Louisville. I said, at the beginning of the season, I said, if we don't get to the ACC championship and win it, or if we don't get to the college football playoff, this is a wasted season. It's gonna be Mario Cristobal's first failure, is what I said. We lost to Louisville, and I said, that's all right. We should still run the table, and we'll still get into the playoffs, and we'll still definitely get into the ACC championship because they're going to cannibalize each other. We'll end up rising, to the top, and we'll be just fine. Well, ended up losing to SMU, and I just about fell apart on this channel. I'm not when we lost to SMU. That game hurt so bad. I became a fan 2002 after the Ohio State game. I watched Ohio State beat the Hurricanes, and the way that it ended, I thought it was just wrong. And I was like, I'm going to be a Hurricanes fan. I got to see them get back to the top because I just felt like they got cheated so bad. I don't know of a time since then that I've ever felt a level of hurt. Like when we lost to Georgia Tech the first time and the second time, it was horrible. I felt horrible. I'm telling you, I really believe losing to SMU was worse to me, mainly because I just felt like it was it's a few things that I've always despised in my life. I don't like thieves and I don't like cowards. Those are the 2 things that I just despise. And I felt like Rhett Lashley was doing some cowardly stuff by consistently bringing in all these Hurricanes players. I just despise it. Maybe there's a lot of nuance to this story that I don't know. Maybe these Hurricanes fans are reaching out to him and begging him for it. I don't know. But I just despise the fact that he continuously pulled in former Hurricanes players. It annoyed me so bad. So I was like, once we played, and then they got into the ACC championship too. So I'm like, they did all this with our former players. It drove me crazy. So then I said, once we play them, we're going to kill them, and we'll just be able to say, y'all can't beat us with all these recycled players. You can't do it. You can't beat us with this. And they actually took our players, former coach and everything, and they beat us. That was the worst. I think that was the worst feeling that I felt. Even when we lost to Clemson, like 63-6 or something. I don't remember what the score was. Basically the Al Golden game. I think this was the worst feeling that I felt since then. I really believe that. I came on here and I told y'all, season's over. So the season's a wrap. We got 2 losses. People do not respect the ACC for whatever reason that may be. Sure, go for it. They don't respect the ACC. And I'm like, I don't really see us getting into the ACC championship anymore because now we're behind Louisville and they got the tiebreaker. We're behind SMU and they got the tiebreaker. And I'm like, there's no way we can catch all these teams. And at that time, Virginia was way ahead of us. Georgia Tech was way ahead of us. I'm like, how we done? I was just like, we finished. It's over. But then we ended up winning the game. Well, I'm sorry. We found out we were ranked number 18. I'm like, okay, that's not too far out of the realm of possibility to get into these playoffs. Not getting my hopes up. I'm thinking our chances of getting in at that point is probably like a, let's say 12%. All right. I'm probably like a 12% excitement as far as reaching the playoffs. Cool. Number 18. And then somebody asked during that show, they were like, well, what's the chances of Miami getting in there? Like, why are they so far back? What's going on with them? Because they got 2 losses, just like Notre Dame has 2 losses. And the guy was like, well, if the Hurricanes can show us that they can put on some consistent offense, then they should be able to get in. And I'm like, okay, that sounds promising. So then my excitement went from like a 12 out of 100 to like maybe a 20 out of 100. And then I started coming on here and I was telling y'all, if we win the next 4 games, we might be able to sneak in there. And then I saw, what's his name, Mike Ryan. He was saying the same thing. If we win all 4 of these games, but not just win them, we need to bury these teams. If we just kill all these teams, we might get in there. First game, what do? Killed the team we were playing against. Then we go up to what? 15. Okay. Then the next game, kill somebody else. All right, that's nice. Then we go to number 12, I think it was. Now my excitement, because we jumped so fast, faster than anybody else. Now my excitement is starting to go from 12 to 20, up to about 35% at this point. And I'm like, all right, so get to the point when we're about to play Pitt. I say, oh, shucks. Pitt got a pretty good defense. I was real upset with Syracuse because Syracuse basically just laid down and let Notre Dame do whatever they wanted to. And I was still somewhat hopeful that Notre Dame would either slip up and lose a game, or they would play somebody so close that they weren't supposed to play close and they would get dropped. That's what I was hoping. But it started to seem more and more like Notre Dame would just go mow through everybody. That's what it looked like. They beat Syracuse 70-7. So then that made me go from like a 35 down to a 30, down to like a 27%. I'm like, oh, shucks. We're not going to be able to catch these fools because they just keep on killing people. We beat Syracuse 38-10, and then they come in there and beat them 70-7. It's like, well, they're gonna keep on pushing this thought process of Notre Dame looks like the better team, especially if other teams keep laying down. Then we get Pitt. They go up there to play Notre Dame, and I'm like, well, they might actually beat them. That might be a good thing. What happens? Narduzzi comes out and he's like, hey, I don't really care about playing these fools. I just want to win the ACC games. That's not good. So what does he do? His team goes out there. They lay down. Now it's our turn. A couple weeks pass. Syracuse has been whipped by Notre Dame. Pitt has been whipped by Notre Dame. So now it's our turn to play against Pitt. And I knew they had a pretty good defense. I knew that our offense was starting to click a little bit. And like I told y'all, they started to adapt the mindset that the 2000 and 2001 Hurricanes had, which was, I'm not worried about winning this game. I'm worried about winning this game by 21 to 28 points. If we only win by 7, that's a failure. That's the mindset that they had in 2001. And it seemed like the last 4 games of the regular season, the Hurricanes developed that same mindset, that same mentality. We don't need to just beat teams. We have to blow them out and put some points on the board to impress some people. So, okay, going to the Pitt game, I'm still concerned about our quarterback because he does like to throw the ball to the other team. So that concerns me. Watching the game, I'm like, okay, things looking pretty good. Hopefully they stay aggressive. And they stayed aggressive the entire game, which I love to see. Also, I'm thinking, I hope they don't take the starters out because they took the starters out the games prior to this, and the starters gave up a touchdown each time. Or they didn't convert touchdowns either. So I'm like, please keep the starters in the game the whole time and just pummel these fools. And a lot of folks were saying, like, maybe we shouldn't run the score up on Pittsburgh because that's not the right thing. And I'm saying Pittsburgh had an opportunity to help us against Notre Dame, and they decided not to. So now it's our turn to help ourselves. Since you don't want to help us, we're going to help ourselves, and we're just going to pummel y'all into the ground, as they did. So after that game, I said, man, we have to pass Notre Dame now. Like, we have to. And then we end up staying in the same position. I said, wow. And then the thing that was even crazier was, and sorry, I'm battling a cold, so that's why I'm sniffling like this. But anyway, looking up at the thing, and I'm seeing we stayed the same, but Notre Dame and Alabama flipped. Weird. So what does that even mean? What could that mean? My first thought was all that's doing is they expect Alabama to lose. And when Alabama loses, they're going to go from number 9 to number 10. And then Alabama would be in between Miami and Notre Dame because apparently they can't compare us unless we're next to each other. So I figured they would move Alabama from number 9 to number 10. That would make Notre Dame go to number 9, and the Hurricanes would be at number 11 or 12. And there's a buffer between us two. That's what I figured that move was all about. I said it's either that or they're waiting to see if BYU loses, and if BYU loses, that would put Miami and Notre Dame next to each other. Then they would flip us at the last second. I made a video. You can go watch it. I actually heard Mike Ryan talking about that, and I said, man, that could be what they're doing because they are doing some publicity, TV, trying to get the drama built up stuff, right? And that's what they ended up doing, which was crazy. But anyway, so I go from at this point, my excitement about getting to the playoffs was all the way up to about a 65. I really wasn't leading on and wasn't telling my friends and my family or telling y'all. I honestly think we're going to make it. I wasn't saying it to anybody, but I was really thinking we probably are going to make the playoffs, which sounds crazy, but I think we probably will. Then the championship games happened, which were crazy. If you remember, week 11, there were several things that could have happened that would have just shooed Miami and Notre Dame both into it easily. OU won a game that they shouldn't have won. Alabama won a game that they shouldn't have won. And then week 12, the same type of stuff happened. And it was dang, all we need was for one of these things to fall our way. And none of those things happened week 11 or 12. That was frustrating. So then we get to the championship game. And I'm looking at it and I say, okay, what do we need? We probably need Alabama to get blown out or Alabama to win, one or the other. Because if Alabama gets blown out, they'll drop behind us, and that'll get Miami and Notre Dame into the playoffs. We also need BYU to lose by quite a bit. So those are the two things I'm saying. We got to have those two things happen. And both things actually happened. It was crazy because week 11 and 12, nothing went in our favor. But then this crazy parlay happens championship weekend. Beautiful situation. It all fell our way. So I'm sitting there and I'm watching this stuff, and I'm like, okay, what's going to happen when these Tuesday rankings come out? Tuesday rankings come out. I'm sitting there watching everything. I'm like, all right, Alabama's going to drop, but they didn't. I'm like, all right, see what happens here. Anyway. Let's go ahead and jump all. It just did not make logical sense to me, the stuff that was going on, because I'm like, if BYU loses, if BYU loses and they drop, why would anyone why would Notre Dame lose and not drop? It just did not make sense. But anyway, let's go and talk about the after the championship, after that Tuesday announcement. I'm sitting on my couch Sunday morning. Didn't go to church. Sorry, Lord. Didn't go to church that day. One of the few times I didn't go. So anyway, I wake up. Honestly, I was too scared to even look at the TV. It was crazy. It was kind of embarrassing, to be honest with you. So I'm looking at the thing, and they get to number 1, Ohio State. I'm like, all right. So I get up and I walk, just leave the room. I come back, and now they're on number 3. And they announced who number 3 is. I was like, all right. So I get up and I go downstairs, walk around for a little bit, come back up, and they're on number 8. Number 8, Oklahoma. So, all right, here's the moment of truth. And in my thought process, I figure I had gotten to the point where I'm like, all right, Alabama got smacked, so they're probably going to be out. And in my mind, I had it figured if there's three spots available, and if there's three teams, Miami, Alabama, and Notre Dame, there's three teams. If there's only two spots left, or I'm sorry, if they get down to one spot and there's Miami and Notre Dame right here, I'm like, they're going to actually flip us. I don't know why I knew that. I just knew that for some reason. I had grown to the point where I no longer was thinking that they might do this. I was like, if it comes down to one spot and there's Miami and Notre Dame, one of us two, we're going to get in there. So they announced number 8. And I'm like, all right, so now we're going to see if they're going to say Notre Dame and first I thought they were going to say number 9, Miami, number 10, Notre Dame, and then Alabama, you're out. That's what I expected them to say. But then they come with number 9, Alabama. And when they said that, I was like, oh, shucks, they done put us in there. I don't know why I knew it, but right then and there, I was hyped. But I kept telling myself, like, keep it cool. Keep it cool. Like, I'm not going to get too excited just yet. But somehow, let me know whenever y'all, like, leave in the comment section, when did you know that we actually were in? Did you wait until they actually put the number 10 Miami across? Or were you like, once you saw Alabama on there, you knew we were in there? Let me know your thoughts on that. Anyway, so Alabama comes across, and I said, we in there. Then they say, number 10, Miami. Y'all, I screamed a high pitch, like Wizard of Oz, Dorothy scream. I don't know what it was. I don't know where it came from. My son, 4-year-old son, was in my room asleep because it was my daughter's birthday. So my son and I, my daughter and my wife, they all stayed in the hotel doing all kind of birthday stuff. My son and I stayed in this big old house by ourselves. He fell asleep in my bed. So he stayed up late too. So he was asleep late. He slept till like 1 o'clock. But anyway, I'm watching this stuff. I'm screaming like crazy. And he pops up scared to death because he hears his daddy screaming loud, like high pitched like a girl. He's like, dad, 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 dad. But anyway, he ended up going back to sleep. But that is what I did when they put that across the screen. I had the highest pitch scream yell thing that came out of me. It was crazy. Jumped off the couch, hands in the air, screaming. Woke up the sleeping child. It is what it is. But man, that was the craziest roller coasterist experience that I can ever remember in sports. It lasted 4 or 5 weeks and it was crazy. Crazy, man. Crazy town. Yeah, craziness. I'm still hyped about it. Still, I think 10 years from now, 15, 20 years from now, no matter how many championships the Hurricanes end up winning between now and then, I'm telling you, 20 years from now, I'm going to remember that day. I promise you I will. Because it was like, it was just crazy. It was so exciting. I think that's the phrase for it. And I think it took more of a life of, like within me, I think it took more of a life of not just sports, but it began to grow like a right versus wrong situation within me. Um, I know like a lot of times when it comes down to like college football playoffs, there's a lot of people on this committee and they're just giving their opinions. And you like, when you have an opinion, you're like, hey man, it's an opinion. That's not a right or wrong thing. It's just what they think. But in this situation, their bylaws stated that head to head had to matter. So the fact that we were just within a couple of spots from them, they were number 9, we were number 12 or number 11. It's like what are we doing? Like, how is it that how can we not jump them at this point? It just seemed wrong for us not to jump them. It seemed like they had an agenda, a motive, emotions involved. Like they were trying to keep us out. And that's why it went from us just like missing the playoffs because we weren't good enough or because we lost the wrong game like we did last year. This year, it felt like it was wrong what they were doing. And I think that's why I reacted so emotionally like I did, because I just felt like not just having the wrong mentality or the wrong opinion, like their opinion different from mine. It wasn't that. It was that I felt like they were doing the wrong thing, like they were cheating this team out of getting there. That's why I was so relieved and happy when they finally announced that they got in. Um, Now let's go ahead and switch gears, y'all. Let's talk about these Notre Dame flighting as in fight or flight, flighting Irish. Let's talk about them a little bit. Okay. Shameful. We talked about shame earlier. Shame. While I'm thinking about it, like video, please, and thank you. Subscribe to the channel. We're going to continue building this thing one like and one subscription at a time. Hey, y'all. These Notre Dame folks, it's pitiful. Let's talk about the shameful part first. Shame on y'all for going along with this nonsense about we're the better team. We're a better team. You know that's some nonsense, and y'all just went along with it. That's why I say shame on y'all. I swear to y'all, my mom always says, never say what you won't do. Because if you're desperate enough, you'll do just about anything. But I'm telling y'all, if the tables were turned, if Notre Dame beat us in the first game, and then we lost the next game, and then we reeled off 10 games in a row, if they had us ranked ahead of Notre Dame, I promise you, I would say, no, it shouldn't be like that. They should go ahead and put Notre Dame in front of us because they beat us. I promise you, I would say that just because it's just the pure basis of sport and competition. There's no way I would throw that out because I think that my Hurricanes look better today. That's craziness. And that's why I say shame on a lot. Not a lot, not all, because there are quite a few folks in the comments who are like, I'm a Notre Dame fan and I believe that the Hurricanes should be in front of us. I respect them. But to everybody else who went along with this just because it benefited their team, shame on y'all. That's whack. You cannot just go along with something because it benefits you. If it's wrong, it's wrong. And once again, if the bylaws say that you're going to judge these teams based on X, Y, and Z, you have to judge them based on those things. So if they're not judging them based on these things and they're judging them based on something that's made up, it's crazy to me that so many folks went along with that. Like, well, they got my flighting Irish in front of the Hurricanes. Fine enough for me. I don't care what excuse they give. Just put my team in there. I think that's hella whack. Anyway, shame on them. The next thing I want to say to Notre Dame fans and everybody out there who supports Notre Dame, whether you're the AD or coach or the coach for now, or whatever else out there for the Fighting Irish, y'all shouldn't have a problem with us. You shouldn't. Your problem should not be with the Hurricanes. Your problem should be with Alabama. Alabama got beat. Well, let me say this. Two people, two groups, two entities, but not the Hurricanes. The first entity is the committee. Y'all should be pissed off at them because they misled y'all the whole time. They set y'all up for the okie doke, as we call it. They played y'all. They made you think you were in when they knew damn well y'all wasn't in. They knew it. They came on TV and said all this nonsense. They made me believe that they were actually going to do this craziness when he said, we just feel like Notre Dame is a better football team. When they said that, I said, oh, we might be in trouble. Because how do you convince them that you're better than them this week when they thought that you weren't better than them last week? And you don't play another game. So I thought, okay, we're in trouble. But the committee misled y'all. Y'all should be upset with them, not the Hurricanes. Next, y'all should be upset with Alabama. How does it, okay, let's just look at some simple facts. The Big Ten championship, the loser of that game, they dropped. The Big 12 championship game, the loser of that game, they dropped. So how can the loser of the SEC championship not drop? How'd that work? How does that work? If there were 3 big time championship games that were played, I'm not even counting the ACC because God bless them, that was a rough game. But if the Big Ten, Big 12, and the SEC, if they all played and the loser of two of those dropped, why would the loser of the third one not drop? Especially if that team jumped you the week before after barely beating a bad Auburn team. What is that about? I looked at that and I said, what are they doing? How can Alabama jump Notre Dame after Notre Dame just beat the brakes off of Stanford? But Alabama played a close game against a bad team. Somehow Alabama jumps them. That didn't make sense. Then the SEC championship comes along, and what happens? Somehow they don't drop at all. They stay in the same spot they were in. And they didn't just lose. They got smacked. They were down 21-0 at one point. That's why I say Alabama's out. They out of here. They're not a playoff team. And they got 3 losses. If you're going to be mad at anybody, be mad at them. Be mad at the committee and be mad at Alabama. Do not be mad at Miami and the other person, the other group, entity you shouldn't be mad at. You shouldn't be mad at the ACC either. You guys realize this. You have an opportunity to join the ACC in football. You decided not to. That was your choice. You chose not to be in the ACC football. So you're not part of the ACC. I don't care how many teams you play every season from the ACC. I don't care. You're not in the ACC, so you're not one of us. And if you're not one of us, you're against us. So if one of my teams plays against you, who's not an ACC member, and they beat you, and somehow that team that beat you is ranked behind you, I'm going to do everything I can to get my team in there. Duh. If it's just common sense, y'all. Like when Miami Hurricanes get into the college football playoffs, money is going to get distributed all throughout the ACC because of that. All those teams are reaping those rewards for the profit sharing. It's going to happen. If Notre Dame got in there, Notre Dame keeps all of that money to themselves. So if you're the ACC president, thinking just common sense here, which team would you rather get in there? The team that's going to bring in, let's say, $20 million to your conference? Or would you rather have the team that plays against your conference every week and they claim to be kind of part of it, but really not? And if they get the money, they keep it all to themselves. Which one would you prefer to have it, to get in? I would prefer my guys, Miami, to get in there if I was the ACC president. Or if I was the ACC network. So now, Notre Dame is doing all this crying and whining about, I can't believe that the NCAA would do this. I can't believe they would do that. I don't know why. I don't know why it's such a shock. Like, why is it such a shocker that happened? It seems logical to me. It seems logical to most people, I would think. But the ACC guy, or I'm sorry, Notre Dame came out whining and complaining, and he wanted to make sure that he understood the ACC apparently is in trouble, I guess. Here's his comments.
Play in any of this, in your opinion?
Well, I would tell you, I mean, again, I have tremendous respect for Miami. You know, great team, great school. Their athletic director, Dan Radakovich, is a good friend. And all the teams in the ACC, great, wonderful universities. We have no gripes about any of the schools in the ACC. But we were mystified by the actions of the conference to attack, you know, their biggest really business partner in football and a member of their conference in 24 of our other sports. And I would tell you, Dan, I wouldn't be honest with you if I didn't say that they have certainly done permanent damage to the relationship between the conference and Notre Dame.
So with that, if I was the ACC, I'm not joking. Seriously. If I was the ACC, I would say, so what? I know that Notre Dame is a big brand. I get all that. And I know it's easy for me to say this because I don't know what kind of numbers they do, and I don't know what kind of money the Notre Dame helps bring these ACC schools when they play. I don't know any of that stuff. But I will say, if you don't want to be on my team, then get on out the door, brother. I'm not going to beg you. I'm not going to hope that you play against us. If it's permanently strained, then it is what it is. As the young folks say, it's up. Get on out of here. Like, you can go ahead and go. I don't cuss, but I would say F y'all. Like, who are you, dude? Oh, they have done permanent damage. Okay, and what that mean is like, what does that mean? Who cares? Get on out of here, buddy. God bless you too. God bless you and touchdown Jesus. All of y'all, get on out of here, man. So that kind of stuff is nonsensical to me. I actually kind of chuckle at it because I think it's crazy that they think that they have that much power where they can say something like the ACC has caused permanent damage. Okay, and so what? Take your basketball, go ahead and leave the ACC in basketball, volleyball, all them other sports. Just go ahead and get out of here. Because the big money maker at these schools is football anyway, football and basketball. And Notre Dame ain't doing much in basketball. So go ahead and get out of here. Go do whatever you want to do. Keep on pledging and loving this independence that y'all got in football. And stop playing ACC schools. Go and play the SEC schools every year. Go for it. I don't care. And again, I know it's easy for me to say that because I don't know what kind of revenue they generate for the ACC. I don't know. But I would love to tell him myself, y'all can just get to stepping, as my man Martin would say. Get to stepping, G. Permanent damage. And then the next thing I hear is they're not playing in a bowl game. They're just going to go ahead and say, hey, man, thanks for the invite, but no thanks. I don't know what I would have done if I was in that situation, if the Hurricanes got left out. It's hard for me to criticize it too much because I don't know what my thought process would be if the Hurricanes got left out. I do know if the Hurricanes got left out, I would have said cancel the Notre Dame game for next year. Just cancel it. We're done playing them clowns. I honestly would love if they canceled it right now anyway. Cancel that and be done with Notre Dame. They got this entitlement that I can't stand. Remember, these are the same people that made up Catholics versus convicts. It's the same people that made that stuff up. So I just despise them. Now they're not playing the bowl game. I don't know if I would have that same mindset or not, to be honest. I don't know. But I do think it comes across as a little immature. And I'm not the most mature guy in the world. So maybe I would have said, Miami, hell no, we're not playing no bowl game. Like, let's be done with this season. Maybe I would have been that guy. I don't know. But it seems like they are in major pout mode right now. And if they really want to be mad at someone, it should be the committee. Like I said earlier, it should be Alabama. But they also should be mad at themselves for trying to be cute and being in this independent mode instead of being in a conference. I firmly believe if they were in a conference, they probably would got it. They probably would have gotten in this time. If they were in the ACC, they would have lost. They would have one loss, which was Miami. So they might have gotten into the playoffs, maybe not. I don't know. But they might have gotten into the ACC championship game. They probably would have played against Virginia. And then they probably would have won the ACC championship and gotten in. But anyway, they chose not to do that. They wanted to be cute and have this independence. So now that you have it, enjoy it. This is the downside of it. There's a lot of positives. If you go to a bowl game, if you go to a college football playoff game, you get to keep all the revenue. That's the positives. But there's a downside to it as well, and this is the downside. So if you love this part, you gotta love that part too. It's all a part of the game. So that's what y'all chose for yourselves. The last thing I want to talk about with Notre Dame, I think you need to stop whining about the bowl games and stuff like that, and start focusing on keeping y'all's coach. Because it looked like y'all's coach got eyes for somebody else. That's what it's looking like. Looks like the Notre Dame savior, Mr. Black Ice himself, looks like he's considering going and coaching the Giants. So if I were y'all, I would be trying to put together some kind of plan on keeping the coach. Because if he leaves, y'all probably going to end up bringing in like Al Golden. And we have seen, I know firsthand what Al Golden can do to your program. So good luck and God bless with that. But instead of whining about the Hurricanes like y'all have consistently done, instead of whining about for the Pop Tarts Bowl, which we had to go participate in last season, we kind of participated in it for half. Instead of doing all that whining and complaining, I think y'all should probably focus on like what's in front of y'all, and that's keeping your coach, because apparently he is really looking at this New York gig. Like I was told he was in New York just a couple days ago. Doing what? I don't know. But I would not be shocked if he was walking around looking at some facilities in New York. Just saying. But yeah, that's all that I got to say about Notre Dame. Hopefully, let me know this in the comment section, y'all. Let me know how you feel about the Hurricanes playing Notre Dame next season. I would firmly, like, if they announce today, here's a better question. If they announce today the Miami Hurricanes pulled the plug on the Notre Dame game next year, how would you feel about that? Would you be disappointed? Would you be excited? Would you be happy? I think I would just do like a fist pump, like, cool, I'm done with them clowns anyway. Good. That's what I would think. Good for them clowns. They can go find somebody else to play. That's what I would think. I know a whole lot of y'all think that would be like ducking competition or something. You could put somebody else on there. You could put Texas on there or somebody. Just be done with them. Like I don't like Florida State, but I enjoy the competition with them. I really do. I look forward to that game every season. If that game was not on the schedule next season, talking about Florida State, I'll be like disappointed by that. But I would not be disappointed if we never played Notre Dame ever again. Like I would be just fine with that. I do not like Notre Dame. I don't like anything about that school. I don't like the rivalry. I don't like anything about it. I'm just done with them. So, especially with all this and them somehow getting a clause put into a contract where if they're in the top 12, they automatically get in next year. Like, what is that? So, this special treatment that they receive and this special treatment that they think that they deserve and they're entitled to, I'm cool on them. I don't like it. I don't like it at all. But the bottom line is this. The Hurricanes are in the playoffs. Notre Dame, you're out. It's unfortunate for y'all. It's glorious for us. It's a beautiful thing. I take my family out to dinner every Tuesday, and they're probably up there waiting on me to finish this, so I got to wrap this thing up, y'all. I'm going to go ahead and get off real soon. Please do like the video, subscribe to the channel. I appreciate you watching this deep into the video if you're still watching. It looks like we're almost at an hour now, which is crazy. But as I always say, y'all, I appreciate the support. You consistently support. You leave comments. You leave encouraging stuff to me, so I appreciate all that stuff, man. Every like that we get, every comment we get, every subscription we get, it helps me take care of my family even better. So I appreciate y'all for that. All right. Once again, we in, baby. We in. We are in. And I'm thinking this is probably the last time we're going to talk about them flighting Irish. The Notre Dame flighting Irish. We can be done talking about them for probably a whole nother year because I don't think we play them until November. Unless the game gets pulled somehow. Because, permanent damage, y'all. Permanent damage. Anyway, I'm going to go ahead and get off, y'all. It's been real. Take care. God bless. Peace.